Hey everybody, Joey Bully here, the Joe you can trust, back with the Walking Dead Roast Map video, featuring Survivors Club, first survivor to the game, Human Shield Andrea. Even though I swear we just had a Human Shield join us like 2 weeks ago, we get another one. Granted, I see this Human Shield different than the rest, as this one has the skill set to be an offensive and defensive Human Shield. This Human Shield comes from being part of the Survivors Club. I talked about the Survivors Club in another video, which you can find in the description and one of the end screens at the end of the video. But you gain this Rainbow Leadership Skill Human Shield Specialist Survivor, oh that was tough to say, which is the first in the game in the 6-star era. From being part of the Survivors Club, and to get her to a 6-star, you need to be part of the Survivors Club to get unique gear from a specific and unique roadmap, strictly for only Survivor Club members. If we take a look at two charts here, the first one will be all tank roles ranked with highest defense to lowest defense. If we take a look at the top 5, we will see 2 Indomitables, 2 Human Shields, and a Garrett. Also, the attack and HP stats with Andrea are night and day compared to the others. This lets us know this Human Shield is probably designed to be used mainly on offense. You can argue she is made for defense, but if Human Shields that are tankier than her are getting beat, then that should let you know Andrea will lose faster with such a lower HP stat. To further this, let's look at all the Human Shields together. We can see she is similar to Ajax's stats, and with a similar skill set, we can see both of these shining on offense. A big plus here, where Andrea is better, is that you get a Human Shield with a leadership skill. Also, if I was given the option to have a yellow Human Shield wield an absolute defense weapon, or a red Human Shield with a stun gun when versing blues, which are the hardest hitting traits in the game currently, then I'll take a yellow Human Shield with an absolute defense weapon so I can take 0 damage and the enemy gets 0 AP. Let's bring it back to her character card, and we already know about her specialist skill, so let's move on to her leadership skill. She brings her teams 30% HP and a very large bonus to AP when attacking. This is a nice combination of defense and offense. The AP portion of the leadership skill will allow all 76 AP survivors to pop an Adrenaline Rush turn 3. Granted, they have a huge bonus to AP when attacking on their weapon. This is also leading into future strategies as well, running double commands where you can command 2 survivor Adrenaline Rushes turn 2, and then one of your command survivors commands the other commanding survivor to use their Adrenaline Rush. Make sure to keep this last part in mind, as it is a nice strategy. Her Adrenaline Rush is Vengeful Slices, which does 2 attacks of 275% damage, resulting in 550% damage. Since it can crit, we can sneak in a little bit more damage, compared to our normal, straight-up raw damage non-critting Adrenaline Rushes. Next, Andrea will apply Taunt to 2 enemies for 2 turns, which is a really nice touch considering she is a Human Shield. Slap an absolute defense weapon on her, and those taunted survivors dealing 0 damage will feel really good, as you know you are 1 step closer to winning. Also, you will want to use her Adrenaline Rush to kill an enemy survivor, so that the taunt to 2 doesn't get applied to the survivor you are trying to kill during that turn, so it does not go to waste. The last part, she will apply 40% bonus HP to 2 teammates, which is good because burns and bleeds are usually great tactics to use versus tanks. To wrap this Adrenaline Rush up, she also applies focus to 2 of her teammates for 3 turns. As we can see, this is very useful for offense for when we go up against Human Shields. Now for defense, this also has a place as well, because now we can get rid of anybody that raids us with a Human Shield, and if they happen to use taunts and confuses, we can just throw those right out the window because focus will take care of that. Her active is Recover Confuse to 2 teammates, and those 2 teammates get 40% defense for 3 turns. Recover Confuse, I personally don't like, and I'm having a really hard time finding that opportunity to use it. She is a Human Shield, so actives and Adrenaline Rushes are going straight onto her. So she is going to get CC'd by these abilities, so she won't be able to use her active. To counter this, we bring in Focus, so being confused will be off the table. So there goes half of the active being useful. On top of that, until we start getting turn 3 and 4 confuses, I personally don't see myself using a Recover Confuse, ever. I will take that chance that whoever is confused on my team will attack the enemy and not a teammate. For the second part of the active, it's 40% defense to 2 teammates. The same 2 teammates that got Recover Confuse. Another thing I want to pose a question on is, why would I want to give 2 teammates 40% defense when I can just swipe right with Andrea and have all the damage be filtered to her, and not have to worry about my teammates taking damage? Let's just say Andrea gets hit with a multi-hit Adrenaline Rush, like from Romanoff. Well, not using the active and human shielding will still be the better option, as now Romanoff can't hit 2 squishies with his Adrenaline Rush. When if you were to swipe right and human shield, it will always be a tanky survivor being hit, making one of his hits be a lot lower, thus a greater chance for one of the survivors to live. I don't know, help me out in the comments everyone for this active, as I am really struggling to find that use case scenario for it. The weapon I feel is pretty streamlined in 2 manners, and I would go with defense, AP when taking damage, and absolute defense. Since Andrea is a human shield, our defense stat will be extremely high, so we will want to scale the living hell out of it for more effective HP. AP when taking damage so that we can start to get her Adrenaline Rush off for team sustain with bonus HP and enemy taunts. We can apply the taunts to a survivor who will cause havoc with their Adrenaline Rush for damage control. Absolute defense to keep her alive long enough to make sure 0 AP is gained to our enemies when they attack us with 0 damage. If you wanted to take a tankier route with Andrea, that will result in less Adrenaline Rushes going off, then you can use a defense, HP, and absolute defense weapon. For combat mods, we go pure defensive. We will go with a defense set with our combat mods being the first thing. Now going on to the combat mods themselves, our stat combat mod will be defense due to this survivor being a human shield, and defense is a human shield's best friend, considering when you swipe right with them, you get a stackable 50% defense buff. That's why human shields take more damage turn 1 than turn 2 when they're actually human shielding. Our trait combat mod will be defense versus green or attack versus blue depending on your playstyle and what you mainly face in your region. If you have an aggressive playstyle and your region has a lot of blue defenses, then attack versus blue for when he uses his Adrenaline Rush. If you are more of a defensive player and your region has a lot of Dantes and Eugenes in which 3 out of the 5 are greens, then going defense versus green would also have merit and would allow Andrea to keep doing her job more effectively. Also, defense versus green if you happen to use Andrea on defense. Resist combat mod would be confuse resist if you are running Andrea on offense, as for the most part you should see mainly blues and reds can only stun you if you attack them, which this human shield is not going to do. Stun resist if you decide to run Andrea on defense because of those damn dirty greens. As for the auxiliary combat mod, let's go with grays if you're looking for a more defensive approach to Andrea to keep her alive longer. And if you decide to take a more offensive approach, then go with reflect, so that if the enemy has any Guardian 2s and starts plopping shields on people, then they can reflect the damage back onto them so that we don't have to waste a turn on popping those shields ourselves so that we can continually do damage and gain AP. The wildcard combat mod, I would go with health, as we already have tons of defense, which gives us higher effective health, so let's double down on the health pool so that we can have Andrea survive a barrage of Adrenaline Rushes so that she can come right back and give herself bonus HP so she can stay in the fight longer. Let's move on over to the team comp section, shall we? We're going to put Andrea in 2 attack team comps and 2 defensive team comp scenarios. First attack team, we bring in damage dealers with Andrea, making this a brute force tactic. We can have Andrea filter all the damage to her while we use Disarm Michonne to remove weapon modifiers, and Waylon to chop them down and make sure our enemies stay down with Decapitate. Anna for turn 2 taunt, crowd control 2-3 in case the enemy has a command and Andrea's absolute defense weapon didn't work out as planned. And for burst damage to yellows when we want to actually be offensive. Jeremiah coming in for a bit more support with his lowering the enemy defenses and raising teammates' defenses. This rainbow setup gives us the ability to have a trait advantage for one of our damage dealers. And in the course we face a lot of greens, we will bring in Jeremiah to lower defenses so that Michonne, Waylon, and Anna can finish them off. Michonne, Waylon, and Anna have the ability to eliminate an entire team with their Adrenaline Rushes, since Michonne and Waylon can potentially kill 2 enemies and Anna can potentially kill 1. Combine that with lower defenses and you should be ready to roll. Second attack team, we will mix in more Decapitates and Disarms for a more straight shooting and less RNG based combat. There is hardly any sustain here, but with double Disarm and Decapitate, we should be able to make quick work of our enemies. We can go full glass cannon on our damage dealers since Andrea will filter all the damage to her, giving free reign for everyone else. Oh, one of your disarmers didn't crit? Use the other one! You missed that decap there, little Timmy? Don't worry, you got 2 tries. When the time comes turn 3, when all 4 of them have their adrenaline rushes ready to pop, MC Shatter Pants all over the enemy team.
You can't touch this.
Let's move on over to defense. Our first defense team, we bring in all the traits. We have Guardian 2 Herschel applying shields to our team, and in the case they bring blues to take him out, we will have Eris ready to potentially be commanded turn 2 to eliminate them. Andrea to give us a few turns due to human shield, and force an active to be focused rather than a confused stun or anything like that. Mackenzie to removing all debuffs with solid heals and a revive active. Command Glenn so we can make sure that we can get turn 2 pressure from our survivors. The second defense team comes pretty thick. 3 human shields, so if you don't bring a focus, then your damage will be so split that all of these survivors either heal themselves or give bonus HP to 1 or 2 other survivors, making it really hard to kill someone when adrenaline rushes are unleashed. Even if you use focus, you're killing a tank, so it will be difficult. If any hold the lines are last, then blues and greens will be taking some serious damage, and their weapons will be an absolute weapon on Eris and a stun gun on Andrea. So there is a bit of kill potential with timeout as well. And that's going to wrap up the video on human shield leadership skill, Andrea. So let me know what you all think of this new Andrea. Are you going to be joining the Survivors Club and getting her and placing her in your team ASAP? Let us all know what your game plans are in the comment sections down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, to make sure to anything positive, please give it a nice go round and chop that like, subscribe button. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Support really appreciated. And on that, I'll catch you all in the next video.